Good morning, beautiful yogis. Let's come to a comfortable seated position. And just see if you can feel the weight coming through the centres of the sitting bones. The spine stacking up nice and tall, and the top of the head just sort of lifting up a little bit towards the sky. You can rest the hands comfortably in the lap, perhaps one hand nestled inside the other. And just let your attention range around the sensations of the body. And then let's just make a little shift in that attention so that it comes to the breathing. If possible, we're breathing in and out through the nostrils. If not possible, no worries. But just use all of your focus to follow the breath in and out. And notice whether when you're concentrating very hard you tense up anywhere else in the body. Perhaps you perch forwards on the sitting bones or tighten the shoulders, but just see if you can let the body be soft while still sitting in a tall and dignified pose. And then let's just interlace the fingers together and look at the hands. And you will have interlaced your fingers the way you always do. So just notice which finger is sort of at the end and then move it along one so the other finger is at the end, and it will probably feel a bit weird. And then we'll just push the palms forwards and bring a sense of sitting very tall, especially in the upper back, but we're staying on the middles of the sitting bones. And then we'll let those arms rise. Again, still staying on the centres of those sitting bones. And then we'll just begin to take a little turn to the right. So rotate that rib cage. And when you've just turned as far as you can go without pushing too much, we're just going to let those hands come apart. And the right hand will come onto the ground behind us, and the left hand will land just wherever it gets to. Again, so you can keep this sense of sitting on the centres of the sitting bones and the spine coming up tall. Just take that twist to the other side, allowing the left shoulder to lift back. Looking over the shoulder perhaps. And then we'll come back to the middle and just walk the hands forwards a little bit, taking a bit of a forward lean. back up to seated. And we'll bring the hands around behind us. Squeeze the shoulder blades in towards one another and lift up the chest. Now if you want to, you can let the head fall back and the chin lift up so that the throat lengthens. If you don't like that feeling, then you can just keep looking forwards. Again, try and stay on the sitting bones. And then we'll come back to sitting up tall. And we'll just take a couple of little side stretches. So let's pop the right hand on the floor and just sweep the left arm over. Now we're keeping this sitting bone on the floor, we're not falling over. We're staying rooted through the sit bone and just allowing that left arm to come wherever it wants to. If you draw the fingertips forwards overhead, you might be able to lengthen down the side of the spine, maybe feeling a stretch anywhere through the side of the ribs, the waist, or into the hip. So anywhere along the left side of the body. Good, so let's allow our inhale to reach that hand up and our exhale to place it down. And then same on the other side, so the right arm is just sweeping over the left side of those vertebrae, come closer together, and the right side of the vertebra open apart. The discs in between the vertebrae getting a little squeeze. The right side of the body lengthening. Good, and then we can just slowly begin to make our way back up. And just take any little wiggles through the body after those sets of movements. And then we'll come to a standing position. So a lot of yoga traditions have a set of what's called sun salutations to begin the practice. And these are a kind of faster moving sequence that's always the same, and it's quite a good warm-up at the beginning of the practice. And I thought it would be quite nice if we started to learn those now. So the tradition I trained in is Ashtanga, which has its own set of sun salutations. But it doesn't really matter which ones you do, they're just warming the body up and getting it ready for the longer held postures that usually follow. So I'm just going to show you one cycle of the Ashtanga sun salutations and just see if you can spot any of the postures that are familiar to you that we've already done. So you should have spotted there the downward facing dog and also the standing forward bend that we've covered before. But I'm just going to show you some of the other postures that go to make up that sun salutation, and then we'll have a go at putting them all together. So the starting is the Samastiti mountain pose, just a regular standing up position. One of the things that makes the sun salutations a bit different from the rest of the practice is that we move quite fast, but that's actually in time with the breath. So each movement has either an inhale or an exhale that goes with it. So just in general in your sun salutations, if you're reaching up or opening up, that tends to be an inhale. If you're folding down or stepping back or lowering down, that tends to be an exhale. So it starts with the inhale to raise the hands, and then we exhale into our forward bend. And then with the inhale, we'll just come up halfway with a flat back. So just see what that feels like for you. You might have the hands up here on the thighs, or maybe a little lower, or if you're flexible, you might be able to just draw the spine out long like this. So I don't know if you've got a mirror you can see, or if you can just try and feel where the back is nice and long and straight. So we don't want this kind of thing, but we're really drawing the body out, and the rib cage is coming far away from the hips. Okay, so the next posture that follows after that is called Chaturanga Dandasana, and it's actually a fairly vicious strength posture, but there's lots of variations, so it's fine. So we enter it by stepping the feet back into a plank, but straight away we start to lower down to the ground. So let's just have a little go at that. Come to a tabletop pose to start with. And then step the feet back so you're in a plank pose. And just see how it feels as you bend the elbows. You keep them close to the rib cage so they're not sticking out like that. They bend sort of and point behind you. And just see how it feels as you lower yourself down to the ground. Now, depending how you're made and what other strength work you do, it might feel that you just fall to the ground, and that's fine. We're just going to try and catch that fall a little bit with the strength in the arms. Okay, so just have a go lowering, but see that as you're coming down, you're doing some work with the arms. And over time, you can begin to make that lower a little bit more slow. Okay, and that's the work that you'll do. And eventually, you'll be able to hold the weight off the ground, so you won't lie on your tummy at all, and that would look like this. Now this is quite a lot of hard work, and it's something to build up to. Okay, so that's our Chaturanga Dandasana. So let's go from the beginning, just as far as our Chaturanga Dandasana, so that we can see where it fits in. So come up to standing. Get your breathing nice and slow and steady. And then with an inhale, let's raise the hands up. And then as you breathe out, fold into your standing forward bend. With an inhale, come halfway up and really lengthen out that spine. And then as you exhale, put the hands down, walk the feet back and lower to your Chaturanga Dandasana, or lie onto your tummy. Okay, good stuff. So what follows next is a little back bend. So with the hands just where they've landed, we gently lift the chest away from the floor. Now if you're beginning, this is all you want to do. Just lift the chest a little bit so you've got the curve coming through the back. If that feels all right, you might push up a little bit more, but the full version of the posture, which is also quite a lot of strength, is to just take the weight on the hands and the feet. So the tops of the feet are on the floor with the toes pointing back. Now my shoulders are a long way away from my ears. Often what we see with beginners is a collapsing of the shoulders, and that's because there isn't yet the strength and the mobility to lift out of the shoulders. And this is called upward facing dog. So let's just take a little rest. And then we'll have another go at our upward facing dog and just see if we can find this business of lifting out of the shoulders. And if you just can't do it, don't worry. It was very frustrating when your brain sends a message to your muscles and nothing happens. But that's simply because that neuromuscular connection hasn't been made yet, or it might be that you don't have the flexibility yet. So let's just have another little go. We can come down onto our tummies like we've just done Chaturanga Dandasana, and then we can start to lift up And see if you can lower the shoulders, okay? So we're not shrugging, it's the opposite of a shrug. And then from upward facing dog, we go back into downward facing dog that you're familiar with. So you might land a little bit too long. It's usual to just step the feet forwards a little bit and then find your downward facing dog. Now in our sun salutations, we hold this downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So let's do that now. And with your next inhale, walk the feet forwards and come to your halfway up long flat back position. Then exhale, fold down to your standing forward bend. Inhale, come all the way up and stretch the hands up high, and exhale to standing. Brilliant, so that's your first sun salutation. So let's just have another go and see if we can get that joined together. Don't worry if you lose the breath, you're exhaling when you should be inhaling, you can't fit the movements into the breath. Don't worry about that. This is work that you're going to do over weeks and months. And in the end, it becomes a beautiful flowing ritual. And doing 5 of these gives you 5 minutes of yoga practice, which is just a really useful thing to have in your pocket if you just want to do a little bit of yoga in the morning. So let's come to the front part of the mat. Stand up nice and tall. Lift the rib cage away from the hips and let's pull the tummy in. Keeping the breathing slow and steady and predictable so that we can match our movements to it. We'll inhale and raise the hands. Then exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. As you exhale, put the hands down, walk the feet back and lower to Chaturanga Dandasana. Now that's quite a lot to fit in one breath, so don't worry if you get it a bit wrong. Then inhale to your upward facing dog, low shoulders, and tuck the toes under, push yourself back into your downward facing dog. Adjust so that it feels right for you, and then take 5 breaths. Remember, we're trying to send the shoulders as far back behind the line of the wrists as we can, and the hips up and back. The chest falls down between the shoulders, and the ears are in line with the biceps. Good work. So with your next inhale, let's walk the feet forwards and come halfway up, lengthening the spine. And exhale, fold down. As you inhale, come up, stretch the hands up high. And exhale, come back to a standing position. That's really brilliant. Let's do it again. Inhale, raise the hands. Exhale, come to your standing forward bend. Inhale, halfway up with a nice long flat back. And exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Remember that elbows stay in next to the rib cage. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. 5 breaths. And with your next inhale, walk your feet forwards, lengthen out the spine, and exhale, fold down. Inhale, come all the way up, and exhale to standing. So it's a very exciting stage once you start to learn your sun salutations, because you really are progressing with your knowledge of yoga, and you're going to build up strength and flexibility and this lovely meditative way of moving with the breath. So maybe you're feeling a little bit more warmed up now that we've done that. Let's just come to a couple of balance postures. So we'll just come to our tree pose. So with the weight on the right foot, we're just going to let the left knee turn out to the side. And just check that the hips stay level and the waist stays long and the tummy pulls in as you take this posture. So you might keep those toes on the floor, you might lift the foot to the calf muscle, or you might close that knee joint and put the foot against the thigh muscle. Now to do that, it's helpful to try and push back with the thigh muscle against the foot, otherwise the foot just sort of slips off. So just if you are lifting the foot that high, give that a little try. And then we can press the hands together, or we could raise them up. And wobbling is fine, just notice what's going on. Feel the foot on the floor. Good, and when you're ready, you can just step down and have a go on the other foot. So turning the right knee out to the side, standing tall, lengthening the waist, pulling in at the tummy, and just placing that foot wherever feels right. If you're bringing the hands to the centre of the chest, you can lift the elbows to the height of the wrists and push, and do a little bit more work through the arms, the shoulders and the chest. Good, and gently releasing. Well done. So just shake anything that needs a little shake. And we'll just do a little bit of stretching through the wrists. So let's bring the backs of the hands together. And we'll just sort of lift the hands higher, but try and keep them glued together. And you'll get to a point where this movement, this stretches as far as it wants to go. And then you can flip those hands over and bring them down. And the sort of the same opposite thing will happen. So we've got a flexion of the wrist there, and we'll get to a point where we can't go any further without peeling the hands apart. So bring it back to extension and flexion. And at any joint, extension and flexion are the two opposite movements that you can have. And in rotaty joints, ball and socket joints and hip, you can have internal rotations and external rotations as well, of course. So we're just going to have a go at coming back to prayer pose and staying here. And then we're going to explore the possibility of bringing the hands behind us into a prayer pose. Now don't worry if that doesn't happen for you yet. A slightly easier version is with the fingers pointing down towards the feet. So you could try that. So whichever version you go for, we're just going to add a little bit of a forward bend here. But this is with the feet apart. So let's just step the left foot back. And the feet don't have to be in line, you're not standing on a tightrope. So just have a little bit of space between the feet so you feel pretty balanced. And then with the inhale, we'll just lift up the chest a little bit and exhale, slowly come forwards. Now try and hold your back out straight. And it might be that you just come forwards a little bit, pull the tummy in. The shoulders are going to need to open back for you to have the hands in that prayer pose. So you might feel a stretch kind of through here. So just wherever you get to, remember the neck is part of the spine, so that also wants to be in line. You might start to feel a stretch in the hamstring of that front leg. And then we'll just slowly come up. If the wrists are hurting, just bring them out for a little shake or stretch the opposite way. And then see if you can bring them back into position as you swap the feet. So the left foot forward, the right foot back. Inhale, lengthen the body. And then exhale, hold it out straight as you just explore a little bit of a forward lean. It might not be very big, that's fine. Gently make our way back up. Step back to the front of the mat and give those wrists a little shake. Okay, well done. So let's just come down to the floor. And we'll just take an external rotation of the hips. So just bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out to the side. Sitting up tall on the centres of the sitting bones. And just letting the hands land wherever they come to. Pull the tummy in. As you inhale, feel the crown of the head drawing up. And as you exhale, just notice the weight coming down through the sitting bones and through the outer edges of the feet there. Good stuff. So let's just close those knees like a big book, and we're just going to do a little bit of tummy work. So starting with the feet together, knees together, holding onto the shins, we're just walking that rib cage up to the knees. So we're sitting very tall and the chest is lifting, and then we're going to shift the weight back a tiny bit so the feet come away from the floor, and then we can extend the arms a little bit, maybe let the legs straighten a little bit, and just find the place where the tummy muscles are working. And then take a little rest. Today we're going to do this 3 times. So, second one. And take a little rest. And then last one of these. And then bend the knees, place the feet down, rest the forehead onto those knees, and give yourself a little hug. And when we begin, that posture is really, really horrible, but it is worth persevering with, because some of the more advanced, or not even that much more advanced postures really call for some strength in the abdominals, but also just having that strength anyway is really good for your lower back. So building strength in the abdomen is just going to be very helpful for your well-being. So even though it doesn't feel like it's contributing to well-being when you're doing it, it is. So really do try and stick at that. Okay, we're just going to come down into a little passive twist here, and if you have a block or a cushion, you might want to take a hold of that, just see how it feels as you come into the posture. So we're going to lie down but with the knees bent up, and then we're going to let those knees fall over to the right hand side. Now if they don't come comfortably to the ground, put a cushion either underneath or in between the knees, and then just explore turning away and finding a twist. And then just see if you can let the body soften into this twist. We're not holding this posture once we're in. You just let gravity do its business. So feel yourself being drawn down into the earth. And then when you're ready, just bring that twist around to the other side. So drop the knees over to the left side, perhaps with a cushion underneath or in between them. And turn your upper body as much or as little as you'd like to in the opposite direction. And then we'll just come back to the middle. Knees might want a little hug into the body, but we're just going to come to a little inversion here. Now you might want to get a cushion and place it underneath the lower part of the back. That can feel quite nice. So right down by the tailbone, so that the sort of fused bony plate, the sacrum, is fully supported by the block. You're not going to roll off it as you begin to lift the feet into the air for a supported shoulder stand. So if the feet come up and you feel like you've just come away from the cushion or the block a little bit, just reposition it. Let's see if you can float your feet into the air. So this is a supported baby shoulder stand. And then we can just begin to bend the knees, lowering the legs, place the feet on the floor, sliding the cushion or the block out from underneath you, and then settling down into Shavasana. So just letting the body feel very heavy and very soft. Check that the shoulders are dropping right down into the ground. No muscular work either.